What's up? It's Jen. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to show you a tutorial of how to make this little cupcake. The day this video is being released is my birthday, and so I thought to celebrate that we would have a little fun and I'd show you how to make this guy. It's very quick. It takes about, I would say, 30 to 45 minutes depending on how intricate I'm getting with the sprinkles and what I'm doing for the topper. This one is just going to be a little cherry. I'm using it's a little hard to see on here, but this is a 3.25 millimeter hook and varying brands of velvet yarn, but they are all the same weight. I've got a very tiny amount left. I think this should just be enough for this, of some Joanne Juicy Couture and a couple different colors of this Joy Tag. It says chenille, but it is velvet yarn that I get from Amazon. I'm going to be using pink for the frosting, and this rainbow is also the Joy Tag brand for the sprinkles. Then this stuff is a little bit thinner, but not enough to be of note. This is Hobie's Bohem velvet yarn in this red color. So I'm going to start by either doing a magic ring or making three chains that I then slip stitch together. Going to chain one, then do 2 single crochets in each stitch around. The first row is always tricky when you're dealing with a really tiny circle. I prefer to crochet around my extra end, but you can always just save that and weave it in at the end. I'm going to continue to do 2 single crochets in each chain until I have a total of 24 stitches around. Now at this point, I'm going to slip stitch into my next stitch to round this out. For the next row, the next 24 stitches, I'm going to do 1 single crochet per stitch, but front loops only. So instead of going through both, I am just going to go through the front loop of that little V. Then again, I'm going to slip stitch to even that out. Now I'm going to go back to regular single crochets, no more front loops. I'm going to do 2 rows, total of 48 stitches with just 1 stitch in each. Alright, now that I've done my 2 rows with no increases, we're going to start the increase rows. At this point, I don't worry about slip stitching because I'm just continuing on. The only reason I was slip stitching at the end of those rows is because we were changing the style of stitches. So now I'm going to do 2 more rows, but increase twice in each row. So I'm going to do 2 single crochets in my next stitch, then do 12 single crochets, increase again by doing 2 single crochets in the next stitch. So that's 2 increases. So 2 more times I'm going to do 12 single crochets and then increase. And finally, I'm going to do one more row, no increases. So that will be a row of 28. Alright, now that I'm finished, I will slip stitch again. I usually slip stitch into 2. It's just what I do. I don't know that that's any better than slip stitching into 1. Then I can fasten off. And I actually had about this much yarn left still, so I made it. Probably not enough for another one though. Now you can weave in your ends if you want. I usually just tuck this inside because it's going to be a plushie. This is the point where I usually put the eyes in. If you want to go safety eyes, these are 10mm. These are kind of standard. I tend to use these the most for my mini plushies. I usually place the eyes about 2 rows down and about 4 stitches apart. Now we're ready to switch to the frosting color. Okay, this is a new skein, so I have quite the yarn barf going on here. Get my slip knot. And it doesn't really matter where you start this. After this first row, I will slip stitch to join and then start working in the round. But I'm going to do 3 rows, no decreasing, so 3 rows of 28. Alright, now that I've got my 3 rows, it is time to start decreasing. So I'm going to do 2 single crochets, then decrease by doing 2 together. So I'll insert my hook, yarn over, insert my hook, yarn over, and then yarn over, pull through all 3. And I will decrease every 2 until it's closed enough that I want to stuff it, and then eventually to close it. So at this point I have about 12 stitches left. Normally I wouldn't stuff so much of a plushie like this with scraps in case they fall out, but I'm keeping this one, so if a piece falls out, it's no big deal. But I'm gonna put a little bit more on the top. I really hate getting like fuzz all over the place, so I really try to wait until the hole is like as small as it can be before I will finish stuffing it. So once you have 12 stitches left, at this point I would go down to decreasing every one. So I will do 1 single crochet, decrease, then I'll finish stuffing it. Looks like he has a little brain. Then I will just decrease every stitch to close. And then I can fasten off. And I usually just go ahead and pull the tail down inside. You can weave it in however you want to do that. Oops, dropped some. Then for the frosting ridges, we're going to make a slip knot once again. That's not my hook. We're going to be working in this row that's in between the top and bottom. So again, it doesn't really matter where you start. We're going to slip stitch to join. And we're going to be doing fan stitches all the way across. So for this first one, I'm going to chain 3. I'm going to do 4 half double crochets into that same stitch. That chain is acting as our first stitch, so it's really a total of 5, and you could do double crochets if you want them to be bigger. Then I'm going to slip stitch into my next stitch. And repeat, go into my next stitch, doing 5 half double crochets. stitch into the next to join, and I'll repeat that all the way around. Alright, so now my little cupcake's got its hat. Can tuck these in. I'll probably tuck these in a second when I start stitching on the sprinkles. So now I'm just going to cut a chunk of my rainbow yarn. I told you the fuzzies bother me. I always have to like pick them up as I go. I grab a needle, and I honestly just kind of like randomly do the sprinkles wherever. I usually do like at least 7 if they're going to be longer sprinkles, and I just will stitch them out. I'll probably keep the pink as the tails because that's not going to obviously show up. I usually do them about that long, and I just kind of randomly stitch them wherever. Work. So I will tie this off, tuck in my ends, and we'll come back for the cherry. Alright, so for the cherry, we're going to start the same way. You can either do your magic ring or... Oops, wrong hook. I was using this one to get all my ends flipped towards the inside. Chain my 3, slip stitch. I really like this yarn from Hobbii, but this is the thickest their velvet gets, and this is like incredibly thin. So honestly, what I've been doing for some stuff, especially if I'm working with other thicknesses of velvet, like look at that difference. Like this is a separate piece I'm sewing on, so it doesn't really matter, but sometimes what I'll do is just double it up if I need it to kind of equal the thicknesses of other yarns. So I'm going to do 2 in each stitch until I have 8 stitches total. Now I'm going to do 2 rows of 8 single crochets, so 16 stitches, no increasing. Now I'm going to decrease by doing 2 single crochets together. And these are small enough that I have not been stuffing them. If you can get like a little tiny bit of stuffing in there, that would certainly work, but and once I have a few stitches left, I just start slip stitching to close it off. I usually cut a longer tail so I can sew it on. Make sure we tie it off. Our last steps are to sew this on and add the mouth. For the mouths, I just buy these like pre-cut felt circles from Amazon. I think I got a bag of black and white ones. It's like, I can't remember if it's 100 or 200 pieces, but it was really affordable. And if I want to use like felt eyes, I use this as a baseline. It's just easier than cutting out circles all the time. So for most of the mouths that I do, I just cut these in half. And I'm gonna glue mine on. My hot glue gun is warming up. But these would be really easy to embroider on as well. Just makes them look so happy. And now I've got my little strawberry cupcake. Can join this one and they can be friends. Yeah, these, I'm really proud of these. I think they're super cute. They seem, I think, more complicated than they are. Like these, I sell these for like $5 because they really don't take very long, and I feel like that surprises people. Like they look like maybe they should be more than that. But yeah, they're really fun. I'm very picky about making plushies. Like, it's rare for me to find one that I want to make over and over again, but I've really been enjoying making these. I made some for fall and Halloween. Did a chocolate cupcake. It's a little hard to see the mouth and the eyes, but a chocolate cupcake and this fall cupcake with a little pumpkin on top. I'm planning on making some for Christmas. Like these, they're just like, they're great for like any sort of occasion. So they're really fun. Thought it would be a fun little birthday treat to share. So I really hope you liked this tutorial. If you did and you want to see more from me, feel free to subscribe. I post videos 2 to 3 times a month. Thanks so much for watching this one. See you next time.